Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. Elizabeth Warren went after the head of Wells Fargo again. I don't know if you know Wells Fargo, one of the big banks in America. There's only 5 of them. And they're all criminal enterprises, just so you know. And here's another proof. Wells Fargo caught again. What they were doing was opening up accounts for people who were their customers. They would open up new accounts for them, credit card accounts, whatever. And they didn't tell them, they would charge them. So they were defrauding millions of people. And why were their employees doing this? Because the guys at the top, the CEO, wanted them to open more accounts. Because if you open more accounts, it makes it look like you're doing better in your business and your stock price goes up. And then that guy gets a bigger bonus. So do you see how this works? So it's all, again, banking's all built on frickin' fraud anyway these days. So it didn't matter to them. Hey, we'll just do another thing that's completely fraudulent. Okay. So Elizabeth Warren got a hold of the CEO of Wells Fargo this last Tuesday, and she gave him a dressing down, and the people over at Now This made this video about it, and I want to talk about it.
At best, you were incompetent. At worst, you were complicit. And either way, you should be fired.
Now, I'm going to take issue with this in a second, but let's watch.
From 2011 to 2014, the height of when Wells Fargo was cheating customers by opening fake accounts, you served as the chief financial officer. And as CFO, you aggressively promoted Wells Fargo's ability to open up new accounts, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't?
No.
Well, here are the transcripts from all of the investor earnings calls. And on these calls, no one, not even John Stumpf, who was the CEO at the time, bragged more about Wells Fargo's ability to open new accounts for existing customers.
So now, if I'm watching this video correctly, and I'm going to ask Ron and Steph, he just lied to Congress. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's illegal. He just lied. She asked him in the Senate, asked a direct question, and then he answered lying. He said no. She said, that's not true. I have the documents. So he just lied. So he's supposed to go to jail for that. But again, we have no jail for powerful people with money. This is the most we're going to get out of them is Elizabeth Warren yells at them. Right? Didn't he just lie to her? What, am I out of my mind, or did he just lie to her?
No, I mean, it should have been like put on the record. They're like,
Yeah.
put on the record. He did not tell the truth.
He
here.
just
He
lied.
just lied. Under to
Under
Congress.
oath.
Yeah.
Are they not under oath when they?
Mm-hmm.
You also personally owned roughly 2 million shares of Wells Fargo stock. Is that right?
Senator, I don't recall how much stock I owned in Wells Fargo. I'm a very proud shareholder.
It's actually in your SEC filing.
Sure,
So
it's public.
if that's
It's all out there.
accurate, then 2 million shares. So it looks like you had a really good thing going. Then the LA Times published a long article on the relentless pressure Wells Fargo put on employees to open new accounts. The article specifically said that employees had opened fake accounts in response to this pressure. So when the LA Times came to you and showed you concrete evidence of a terrible problem with fake accounts at your bank, did you launch an investigation?
Senator, first, as it relates to my comments in 2011, I'm proud of the credit card products that we have at
That's
Wells
not
Fargo.
the question I'm asking. Did you open an investigation when someone laid out evidence of fake accounts?
Senator, that in that interview, to the best of my recollection with the LA Times, they didn't provide me with any information. It was soon after that, as I mentioned,
So I take that as a
2013.
no. So
That's
when you were
correct,
asked
because
this
by that,
question, you did not open an inquiry into it. Is that right?
Senator, again, the LA Times didn't provide me with any
So
documentation.
you had
It was
no
a phone
clue.
call.
All right.
After
did you
that
read,
time,
Did you read the article?
I read the article, yes.
And then you opened an investigation immediately.
At the same time the article was coming out, that was the time when the community bank elevated this issue to the senior leadership
so
team.
let's talk
That's
about
the
that
time that
time.
we began to take action.
You didn't look into the fake accounts, but you went right back to pumping up the stock price by bragging about Wells Fargo's record number of new accounts on your very next investor call. Now let's forward to 2016.
So these guys are criminals. So that guy is a criminal. He knows what they're doing is fraud. He knows they're artificially inflating their stock price through fraud. He knows it so much that the LA, not only does he know it, the LA Times knows about it, and then they're going to go back and make sure he knows about it. Of course he knows. The LA Times knows what's going on in his bank. He doesn't know what's going on in his bank. He doesn't know why they have record amounts of new accounts open. Of course he does. That guy's a criminal. A real bad criminal who defrauded millions of people. That's a lot worse than a guy who breaks someone's window or steals a car. That's a lot worse than someone who smokes a joint in public and gets caught. This is a lot worse than a lot of things that most people are doing time for.
I mean, it is pretty unimaginable that they created millions of accounts.
Fraudulent.
Millions of accounts. And they also created fake email accounts to go along with that as well. And they fired 5,300 employees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why Wells Fargo gets to be Wells Fargo. Why aren't they gone?
Well, like a perfect white-collar crime, they had it set up so that somebody under them with no money and no power would take the rap. Perfect white-collar crime. They had it set up.
Here, she's got more to say to this guy.
2 months before the fake account scandal became public. You were then the chief operating officer of Wells Fargo. An interviewer asked you whether you thought the bank had pushed sales goals and cross-selling too far, and your answer was, quote, no. The fundamental strategy that we have is not going to change. And that's a month
And I was referring to
before
the
this
vision.
breaks
I was
public.
referring to the vision of our company.
The vision,
Of our
including the
company.
fake scandals you were being asked
Senator,
about.
every time I give a presentation to our team members, I start with our vision, which is to ground people in the culture of our company.
You were asked about pressure on employees, which caused the fake account scandal. We all know that now. It's public. You knew there was a problem, and when you were asked about it, you lied. This is about personal responsibility. Wells Fargo cheated millions of people for years. At best, you were incompetent. At worst, you were complicit. And either way, you should be fired.
So now everyone's going to go nuts, Pat, go, look how great Elizabeth Warren is. They did it in this video. Don't F with Elizabeth Warren. She'll come at you. She'll wag your finger at you, let you keep all the money you cheated people out of, and nothing will happen. That's all this is. This is a finger wagging. That's all this is. And I don't know if you see how old the guy is. The guy's about 95 years old, so if he has to quit, he's already time for him to quit. Why not? Why doesn't Elizabeth Warren recommend prison sentence for that guy? Oh, you could never do that. We can't imprison bankers in America. So this is a big stage show by Elizabeth Warren. I'm glad she's doing it. But this is just a show. This is a show. She's going to get that guy fired. Oh, no kidding. That guy's going to have to quit his job and keep his millions of dollars. And he's already 95 years old. Oh, he's going to have to quit his job? He's going to have to go on vacation? That's what you mean? He's going to have to go on vacation and count his money? His 2 million shares of Wells Fargo that was propped up illegally and fraudulently?
Oh, I think you're being insensitive, Jimmy. Didn't you hear him in the video? He loves grounding people into the company culture.
Yep.
Which I think is code for breaking their spirit. Well, now he's not going to be able to do that anymore.
You know, our culture of fraud and propping up our stock price based on corrupt activities, which steal from our own customers. That's who Wells Fargo is. They steal from their own customers. That's banks in America today. That's banks. So the banks have bought our politicians, and that's what it leads to. And then when a politician wants to show how tough they are, they wag their finger at a banker in public, which nothing ever happens to them afterwards. There is nothing going to change in banking because of this. No one's going to go to prison because of this. And if someone does go to prison, it's going to be someone way, way, way like a teller, or an associate account executive. So I love that Elizabeth Warren saying that stuff. I wish Elizabeth Warren would have a real nutsack and recommend they be prosecuted. Recommend they go to jail. But this gets her campaign contributions, and it makes her look like a real fighter. And we all know she's only a fighter sometimes, and most of the time she what the hell has she done? She got that consumer protection thing made. That was great.
She endorsed Hillary.
She endorsed Hillary, who's the biggest Wall Street toady there is.
She supported single payer. Are we doing like one pro, one con? Is that what we're doing here? Next, she supported the military budget.
Okay, she never went to support the water protectors.
So let me just say this about Elizabeth Warren. She's such a good progressive. She just voted to give $700 billion more to the military-industrial complex, without debate, without conversations in the country, without us hand-wringing, without us pointing our finger at the head of Halliburton. She voted for that. So this is a show. That's all we get anymore in America is a show of someone sticking up for the people. This is a show. That's all this is, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, I'm glad that it's at least happening. I mean, at least there's some people that aren't going to be Wells Fargo's customers anymore and it's sad that that's all.
It's sad that
that's going to be
aren't you
done.
Aren't you upset she doesn't call for his prosecution? Why when he said you should be in jail?
I would like that. Yeah. I mean, I would certainly like that.
And why do you think she doesn't say that?
I think it's because it's bad manners, Jimmy. I really think it comes down to.
I think it's because the Democrats are in bed with the banks and Wall Street, and she can't say that. That's what it is. And so this is all a show. So don't get too excited. Because when push comes to shove, the history is Elizabeth Warren will sell you out. She just did with Trump's military budget. She just did it. She just gave more money for bombs than Bernie wanted for free college. She just gave that, just like that. No discussion, no national conversation, no town halls, no competing editorials about should we spend $80 billion more a year on bombs. Nothing. Just, let's do it. And then she turns around and does this to make her, look, I'm upset at the CEO. I'm not going to say he should go to prison, but that's what we're left with in America. We're left with an illusion of democracy. Portland, Oregon, the Jimmy Dore Show is coming to the Alberta Rose Theater November 12th, and we're going to Burbank, California, November 6th, and the Hollywood Improv on October 16th. There's a link for tickets right down there. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for all links for all shows.